Okay, so hello everyone. I'm happy to join here the NYC Media Lab. It's a pleasure of ours to present our latest product and what we're doing at In3D, breaking the barrier between human and the digital world. So I'll just get right to it. So our company created a proprietary technology to scan human into photorealistic 3D avatars. We developed a product that it takes only 10 seconds to scan yourself with a mobile phone and one body per turn. It has a super precision, so your avatar is not just photorealistic, but it's also very accurate, basically your digital twin. And finally, our technology, of course, is absolutely scalable. But what we are really doing is digital presence 2.0. So what do I mean by digital presence 2.0? Beforehand, if you wanted to scan yourself into an avatar or to be in a game, what you have to do is to go to the thing that I show you here in the presentation, which is basically a large stationary scanner, to pay a lot of money and to invest a lot of time in post-processing in order to create your own digital twin. This is why you cannot see yourself today in games unless you're a sports player or a movie star. This is a very expensive and non-scalable solution. Regardless of that, the user interest was very high at putting themselves into the digital world. So even technology that are partially working, for example, EA Game Face, that just takes your face and scan it into the game, or more recent Reface, have a very strong user traction. But what we wanted to do is to create the perfect digital twin, and we want to make this process easy, intuitive, and scalable. And we wanted to deliver that on a device that we all use, a mobile phone. So we've done just that. So we released recently our first app into the App Store, and I would like to share with you how it looks like. So basically, after you're downloading the app, what you're doing is a 360 turn, and this is the outcome. You have a full digital twin, which you can animate to dance or to do flip-flops or whatever. You can see yourself in AR in your kitchen or living room. You can animate your avatar in the same location. And moreover, you can put yourself into games. So recently we've done GTA. This is an actual working product. So you can go in tomorrow and put yourself into GTA. And we're working on more games to come. We are soon deploying it with several of our partners. Also, one of our things that we're doing is Second Life. So some of our team meetings we're actually doing in Second Life. You can see such meeting, way more engaging than any Zoom meeting that probably you had recently. And finally, we're leveraging into customized clothing. So we have partners who are actually doing full customized clothing, jeans that fit your exact body shape based on our scans. So you're welcome to download our app and to scan yourself into a photorealistic 3D avatar. So what I would like to show you next is, why now? Basically how our technology is working. So as you know, iPhones have today a face scan, and the technology behind the face scan is a depth sensor. So this is a simple sensor that measures the depth. It's kind of like a second camera, low quality camera that allow to understand like how the world looks like, not just graphically, but also on a volumetric scale. So we leverage that technology in order to scan people, but it does not mean it works only for iPhones. So we are now working on a process that will allow anyone to scan themselves, regardless if they have a depth sensor, from any camera. So how this process works is basically we have our depth enhancement, then we use human understanding algorithm in order to do the shape reconstruction, and we apply texturing in order to create your full digital twin. So some of our competitors, we are a pioneer in this industry. Amazon recently published a paperwork in one of the conferences saying this technology is still years away. We beg to differ. Our technology is here and it is ready for work, and you're welcome to use it. And some of our competitors. So if you go to the App Store, you'll see that nothing really delivers your 3D avatar. I'm sure some of you seen recently Facebook new avatars, but eventually human scanning is a really complicated problem. It's not just an overstate to say that every human is a unique person. So you cannot really solve this problem with existing algorithms. And this is why it's so complicated to deploy that solution. So this is just a head scan of myself and my partner, Dmitry, just to illustrate how it works. This is not a picture or anything. This is already how your head would look like if you scan with our app. So what we're going to do with that technology is we are looking to deliver ultra-personalized content through our core capability, which is to create avatars. So if you think about it, we can combine those avatars with animations and digital assets that can be literally created by everyone. So you can create animations for those avatar or any other digital assets such as backgrounds and even a story line for that avatar in order to create a personalized experience, whether it's in fashion, in gaming, or even entertainment. So why is this problem such a significant problem? So today, in order to create a in-game character, that costs to a game manufacturer around $80,000. This is why you cannot see yourself in games. You can customize, you can probably play around so the player would look like you, but it won't be really you. So yeah, this is exactly what we're solving. We see a great opportunity there. And the interesting part is that today, the majority of the economy in games is working on in-app purchases. If any one of you playing some of the games that are on the App Store, I'm sure that you've been offered to buy coins or loot boxes for a certain sum. And what it drives a game economy that really frustrates the players. So basically, you have to pay in order to advance. We believe that by delivering a real value to the gamers, by playing as themselves, we can create a deeper, more engaging game experience. And in fact, we already shown that with one of our partners, the in-app purchases using our technology went from 2% to around 18%, so 9 times more, because people are really eager to put themselves and to play as themselves within the game. The other industry that we are leveraging our technology in is the e-commerce industry. So one of the most amazing statistics is that if you look today, the largest market cap company is Amazon, but I'm not sure like whether you were aware that 33% of the orders in e-fashion, orders that you order online, are being returned. And the single most important factor for that is fit and match. So 75% of it being returned because there is no fit and match. And what happens, there is a huge barrier or a gap between you measuring clothes in the physical world and you picking a cloth from a picture and trying to guess your size on Amazon. So we are trying to gap this using our technology and leveraging our accuracy. So our system is able to estimate body measurements with 1 centimeter accuracy. And basically imagine you are having a tailor, but just instead of this is a human that is measuring you, that is your mobile camera that is measuring you and allowing you to measure clothes even online and to see how it looks. So this is one example of our technology. The avatar that you've seen before, those are total different clothes that you can see how they are sitting on you. And basically that will gamify the shopping experience, which will make it a lot more fun to the shoppers. So just to summarize, in gaming, we bring the gamers into the game. In fashion, we leverage our accuracy, but one more interesting vertical is synthetic content, or for example, in ultra-personalized advertising. So what you can see here, you can see the same avatar standing, I guess in Philadelphia or New York, wearing a watch that he never wore, and wearing the sunglasses that he never wore. Now, imagine this is a commercial that you would see on YouTube. Basically, you would see yourself in that commercial, which is way more engaging than any experience that you have right now. But more importantly, what it allows you, once we have the avatar, we can create any user-generated content that is not generated by the user. So for example, once we have your avatar, we can show you how you play basketball with Michael Jordan, doing fitness with Kim Kardashian, or playing football with Ronaldo. So we're implementing, one of the things that we're implementing is into the avatar technology into music clips. So for example, if you're familiar with, let's say, Justin Bieber music clip and you would like to see your avatar in it, we're now creating something like that. So you'll be able to see yourself dancing within an existing video clip. Early on, I mentioned Second Life, but in general, the main point that I would like you to take is that we can have your avatar in any virtual world for any experience, whether it's business meetings or just fun. So that is it about ours, and I would like to open the session for questions.
All right, thank you so much, Sergei. That was incredibly interesting. I'm going to mention and allow and ask for folks that are in attendance. I'm seeing, a few folks in here. I think we see 18 folks in here. So please take a moment to go to our Whova app and ask a question in our chat feature. This is really intended to be an interactive session. So we're all here to really learn and explore new applications of these really cool emerging technologies. So I'll kick it off with a couple questions, and folks who are attending, folks who are watching, don't be shy. Feel free to jump in and ask any question that you'd like. All right, so to begin, I think what you mentioned about ultra personalized advertising is really, really cool. But before we get there, I want to ask you to take us through your story of entrepreneurship. So could you share with us a little bit how you got started, how you came up with this concept and this idea, and the path that led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. So I'll start that this was not actually my idea. That was the idea of my co-founder, Dmitry, Ulyanov. Dmitry is a PhD in computer vision, and he was before in Samsung Research and Yandex. And basically, his idea initially was to create kind of a measurement tape. Dmitry's worst thing to do is to go shopping with his wife. So he asked his wife why not to order online, and she said, well, basically, I don't trust the fit and match. I want to make sure that I have a guaranteed fit to my body, and this is why I'm avoiding shopping online, especially expensive items. So as a computer vision guy, Dmitry started tackling this problem, and it turns out that there are many people who tried to do this before. And luckily for us, the timing was just right. So the depth sensors became available on all iPhones 10 and higher. So we were able to deploy our technology on a basically to make our technology scalable. And that was just the perfect timing. I joined him actually during the COVID on March when there was basically lockdowns and a lot of uncertainty, and Infinity was trying basically to raise capital, and I myself got more excited about the implications for gaming and synthetic content. And basically we connected very naturally. And I'm doing the business side and Dmitry is doing the technical side. So this is kind of a little bit of how we connected, how we did the product and whose idea that was.
Got it. Thank you so much for that. And that's a great story to say, hey, I really hate, going clothing shopping and trying on things. I mean, I feel like that's pretty universal for just about anyone. So thanks for sharing that. All right, so we've got a question in the chat, and this is really about ownership. And this, I think, is a really complex question with so many different ways that we can really approach this. I'll just read verbatim. Who owns the avatar? What if someone does not want my avatar to be made available to 3D parties? So I think this is about data privacy, and yeah, maybe some of the structures that are built in. And I think this is a really complex, interesting question.
So the answer is very simple. It is you. You own the avatar, and that's it. So we believe that your data is your data, and definitely your body is your body. We are monetizing by, like, if you are choosing to leverage our technology to put yourself into GTA or to buy clothes online, then we are charging either you or the retailer. That's about it. We have a very simple model that does not use the data against you.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And that I think is so important and is going to be increasingly important. That's awesome. Okay. I have a question about that personalized, ultra personalized advertising. Where do you see the applications of this beyond e-commerce? I think you touched upon gaming, but yeah, I feel like that's a really, yeah, I think that's interesting.
So I would like to take one step even like back and say that ultra personalized advertising is part of this whole world of synthetic content that I mentioned earlier. And I think advertising is one use case, but if you would take a look today on the developments, for example, NVIDIA Machinima, and that you have more and more game engines that are used not just for games, but to create movies and to create digital content. Imagine that you can bring yourself into that digital content, that you can be the star of any Hollywood movie. So let's say Lion King 2, right? Imagine that you're going into the movie theater and suddenly in certain scenes, you see your avatar in that. Let us not even use the phrasing your avatar. You see yourself in the movie in some interactions. How exciting is it? How more engaging is it than just being a passive viewer?
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I would say that's like the main key on ultra personalized advertising. I think like how we view it is that, for example, if you go into our app, so you can animate yourself, but imagine that you have a tile that it says Gucci, okay? So if you're interested in seeing how Gucci would look on you, you would click on the tile and you would see yourself not just wearing the Gucci, but clothes, shirts, pants, I don't know what, but you can see yourself within that Gucci world or experience. So maybe the video would show you yourself somewhere on the French Riviera, right? Especially now during COVID, where half of the world is on lockdown. That is an exciting video to watch. And if you like what you see, you can buy it. As simple as that.
That is, I'm just like imagining and like, I've got like these images in my head, and that's actually getting me to think about like applications in travel, virtual travel. And that actually is a nice segue into the next question. And you sort of touched upon this already, but how do you see COVID and, you know, let's say the next 6 months to a year sort of impacting your company and your product?
So I think that COVID was there is a survey that asked who was responsible for the acceleration of the technology within your organization during COVID. So 11% said it's their CTO, their Chief Technology Officer, and over 70% said it was COVID itself. So things are definitely accelerating on how to close the barrier between the physical and the digital world. We can see that Inditex, the largest fashion retailer in the world, that owns Zara and other fashion chains, they're closing their fashion stores because, well, people are just not going out to buy clothes anymore. I'm not sure whether the comeback to physical shopping will be as fast as we can. Some people assume. I think actually now that people are doing everything, including work from home and the most critical functions in their life through the computer on remote, they're asking themselves, well, why I cannot like shop remotely, or more accurately, why I cannot measure clothes remotely? And we are filling that gap exactly. So I would say what would be most accelerated in for us as a result of COVID is definitely the fashion industry, which is, as you can assume, it is a little bit slower to move. It is more traditional, but it just have to evolve.
Agreed. Thank you for that. We have another question in our chat from Robert. Regarding personalized clothing fit as part of the e-commerce experience, how can you accommodate for fashion designers and specific fits? For example, some designers produce clothing that fits better for slim body types, but they are not advertised or labeled that way.
So great question. Thank you, Robert. So I'll try to answer because like there are like a couple of things underlying in that question. So first of all, if you take a look on Unspun, one of our partners who deliver fully customized jeans, it is fully customized. It's not generic, like, you know, choose size 28, 30 and choose whether you're slim fit or regular or whatever. It just gives you the best option to your body shape. And that is it. You don't need to choose anything. You just scan yourself and that's all. So we think that the whole industry is going towards that area. Our partners, the immediate partners that we work are actually the most, let's say, partners who are focusing on bespoke fashion and highly customized or tailored fashion. Actually, like the largest corporates, for them, their problem is that they have, let's say, a very standardized manufacturing process where it's 5 sizes, 3 types of fit, and that's it. So there is also the challenge of manufacturing, as you mentioned, and it is also a process. But luckily for us, today, clothing are being also already done digitally. So today, when a manufacturer wants to let's say design a new shirt, it is fully digital. So the clothing is out there, the digital model is out there, and we just have to fit it to the body. And it is challenging because people scan themselves in clothes. So we have kind of like to estimate how much volume your shirt takes to neutralize that and then to replace it with the new digital shirt. And additional services that we also are working on, and some of our technical partners offering, is basically that you can just put a sketch of your clothes, whatever clothes that you design, a 2D sketch, and the material, the fabric that is being done from, and it can simulate fully the clothes in 3D. So I hope it answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's fascinating. I see how that is sort of like creating this more of a loop between, yeah, like consumers and makers, and maybe even, you know, manufacturers using these types of top softwares to reach consumers in a new way. So that's really cool.
And just to add on that,
Mhm.
what we think that is the largest benefit is that small and medium manufacturers, they don't need to hold inventory at all. So they can compete with large corporates who know how to manage inventory very effectively. Basically, they just get a scan, then they can buy the needed fabric that they offer online, and then they can tailor it. So zero inventory, zero cost, and it allows small and medium businesses to be a lot more competitive.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Inventory, I hear, is one of the most challenging parts of, you know, small and medium-sized fashion businesses. So that's great. Um, Not to mention, also, it'll have a great environmental impact too if we reduce sort of overproduction. All right, let's see. Let's go to the next question. And folks who are in attendance, don't be shy. Feel free to ask any question you'd like. All right. So, in getting to where, you know, you and Dmitry are today, what are some of the surprises that you encountered? And I think this is really, you know, just a plug. The NYC Media Lab works with a range of sort of community groups. So one, this is for university students and faculty. Another is for entrepreneurs and folks who are in the startup community, as well as our corporate partners and people who work in sort of innovation, R&D, and tech teams at larger companies. So I guess for those in attendance who are more from the startup entrepreneurial community, could you talk a little bit about, you know, some of the challenges that you overcame and what's next for the team?
So the first thing that I would like to share, because we're uh, in New York City Media Lab, is that turns out that when we say turnaround to US clients, they think it's 180 degrees, and in Europe it's 360. So we have a lot of scans where people turn just half the way and not sure what to do when they're facing with the back to the camera. So that is that is one surprise that I can tell you that we had during this journey.
User
Yeah.
so important.
So when you scan yourself, make sure you turn around 360. Yeah, like on a more serious note, for startups, challenging is a way of life, and uncertainty is something that you have to deal with on a daily basis. So there isn't really a formula of what is working and what is not working. You really have to be agile and you really have to be focused. So as you can imagine, in our case, our startup, we did not like created a solution, we created an asset that you can use in many ways, in gaming and fashion and all the verticals that I mentioned earlier. But I would say first, the biggest misperception between what we were thinking before the startup and what we are knowing right now is that we had in mind that VCs are kind of, yeah, like, okay, you have a noble technology, go ahead, here's your money. And, you know, the VC money seems to be everywhere and there is like large rounds on a daily basis. But it is not like that. Your technology is only valuable if you can show revenue. And the earlier you can show revenue or a model to revenue, it is better. So like, if you think that your technology is an okay and not, you know, the best technology, but you have a solid business model, you are way ahead of where we were a couple of months ago. So that's kind of like the first insights that I would like to share with you. The additional thing that I would like to share is on your potential clients. So startups, the most valuable thing to startup is clients in order to generate that revenue. I would like to share with startups who are starting and they're just early on their way. You will get a lot of no's, and it would seem that you have a large wall that you cannot overcome. But this is actually your largest benefit. This wall is not the wall of no, this is just a wall of the corporate wall, where they take slower decision. And because of those slower decision, your startup might be successful because you know how to work faster and you know how to react faster. And eventually you will overcome this wall. Make sure that there is someone on the other side of the corporate who can help you to overcome this wall, and you can get some feedback. It does not have to be one certain person. Just spread your risks. Don't be shy to go to a potential client and to contact 20 people if needed. Make sure that you have as much traction and as much communication with your clients, because this is the most important thing for you in order to generate this connection with the client. And finally, it's all about people. So we're saying humans are unique, and this is why it's hard to scan them. But humans are also unique, and this is why it's so important to choose the right people for your startup. So the largest asset that we have is our people. It's not our technology. Our technology will probably get old in 2 years, but with our people, we will be able to advance our technology and to develop better solutions to serve our clients, and to eventually, hopefully, to make a successful startup.
I love that response. I think that is so true. And I think like really sort of the long view of innovation. All right, I had a quick follow-up to one of your points. You mentioned, you know, the wall, and we've seen that, you know, definitely time and time again. So I think finding those opportunities to partner and bridge those different ways in which large enterprises work, and the agile, sort of nimble DNA of a startup is always so interesting. Are you able to share with us like some of the partnerships you've had so far and how those have gone?
Well, I can, like, with not on a name basis, because like, again, we're with some of them, like with most of them, we're signed on an NDA. Mm-hmm. So apologize for not naming, you know, like
that's okay.
big names, but yeah. What I can share with you is okay. So you would like me to elaborate how we climbed over the corporate wall, or how we established the relationship, you know, just to, so I'll be able to focus on the scope, better on the scope of the question?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you feel comfortable sharing too. Yeah, just like, how has that gone? Because I think a lot of startups face that wall, yeah, and they have a hard time sort of, yeah, getting to that yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would say when we started approaching, I'll give, you know, just one example. When we started approaching, for example, partners from the gaming industry, we had a, like, kind of understanding of what would be the end game, but we were not aware of how the path will develop. So we were not able to come up with a good and focused offer that would address the relevant stakeholders. So first of all, we had to address as many people as possible, and to even get a response from them. And then we'll say, hey, please, can you go on a call with us and just tell us a little bit more about your business? And the best thing that happened during these calls is that when we got advices and insights from those people, they become stakeholders, because they became partners to the idea that they helped to shape. So suddenly they were already invested in that idea. And then naturally they connected us with more people, not necessarily that most of those people reacted. And in some cases, even the people that we spoke with, they were very excited on the call, but later on they just ghosted on us, right? They're not ghosted on us because like they don't like the startup or they don't like the product. Mm-hmm. They just have a very different goals and measurements, and they are being compensated based on those goals. It is very important to understand, no corporate is being compensated on, like, no corporate employee is being compensated on bringing a new startup into a relationship or into the business. That's the truth. So they're all kind of doing a favor to you. And our breakthrough with one of our clients was basically when we were able already, okay, so we showed them a tailored fit product. We already showed them exactly how it addresses all their needs. And then we had kind of like a silence from them. And for no reason, like, so you know what we did? We just kept email them. So, you know, most of the statistics says that most of the sales send on average 2 to 3 mails after somebody is ignoring them. Our goal is, before we just, you know, disconnect from the person, is to send 8 emails. And, you know, it works. It works. So we made sure that we send an insight and a new fact and a new idea every email. We kept the email short and valuable, and eventually they got back to us and we were able to close contracts. There is no magic in client acquisition. There is just persistency and your ability to adjust to their needs. That's it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. That's, you know, very much that startup hustle. And I really appreciate your point about, you know, enterprises aren't given, you know, points for talking with startups all day. So I think it's like understanding from their perspective, their sort of goals, targets, and how they're being sort of measured. And so, yeah, I think that's really important for everyone to keep in mind. All right, so folks, if any other questions, feel free to use the chat feature. Well, let's see, I've got a couple more that I wanted to ask you. So as you know, we're very much a community and we want to foster this community of innovators that are really working at the frontiers of emerging technology. So with that community sort of mindset, I wanted to ask if there are, 1 or 2 other folks of teams, startups, companies that you were really excited by and that you feel like we should know, that other people should know about, that others may not know about.
So there was actually one startup that presented before us, Sensorium, I believe, which yeah, so I think that Sensorium addresses a gap. Basically, since Second Life, we did not have kind of like a large virtual place for communities, if you think about it. And Second Life engine is, well, it's pretty much outdated and there isn't a lot of traction in the community there. So I'm excited about what they're doing. I believe that they have all the tools to roll out kind of like a successful virtual world to foster kind of new playground for communities. And this is definitely something that has to happen. I mean, think about it. The latest revolution in communities happened in 2006, 8 with Facebook, and since then there wasn't much sense. So okay, you have Facebook, you have WhatsApp, but it's pretty much kind of like the same ultra targeting you as a client, and a lot of algorithms that really narrow down your world. And I think that new communities and new businesses are already understanding that you cannot narrow down this world for the end user. You have to open up. You cannot kind of like personalize the experience, and assuming that if he sees I don't know, one video of Michael Jordan, he would like to see the rest 30. It might work, but it's not really kind of an open community that is exploring. So this is why I'm excited about Sensorium. I think that they're also sitting very well with our vision, because, well, virtual world, and we can bring our avatars into that virtual world.
Yeah, very cool. I love how you frame that in terms of like, we can't really continue to narrow down on communities. And I think you're so right about the need to sort of open up those algorithms that are sort of tailoring and feeding that narrowing of our worldviews and perspectives. That's reminding me, actually, we hosted a conversation with Julia Stoyanovich, who is the founding director of NYU's Center for Responsible AI. So I just wanted to quickly plug that one. But
no, absolutely, yeah. We all seen the Netflix video, yeah.
No, and we hosted Tristan.
Yeah.
And yeah, for folks who haven't seen The Social Dilemma, please watch it. All right, so I guess let me check our chat. I think folks are, it's Friday. We are all feeling a little tired today, but let's see. I guess I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you want to bring up? I mean, I think we've talked a lot about, what's next, but I guess maybe if we want to not narrow our conversation into, this, like, what are you most excited about in the realm of emerging tech really, really broadly? So that can be applications of machine generated media and content and or otherwise. We talked about like neural interfaces. What are you sort of keeping your eye on?
So, okay, so the classic question, the classic answer would be, obviously health tech and those technology, the mega trends. But I think eventually, if we take even one step forward, I think everything leading into the human kind of having his own digital presence. So think about it, Elon Musk developing Neuralink, right? Where on the vision part, at least, if we're ignoring the challenges, you'll be able to copy your brain, like your spirit, your essence. And then you have the VR world that is allowing you to live in that digital, non-physical world. And then you have a lot more longevity. So you really have to ask yourself what technologies are leading to this huge end goal of a human that is non-mortal. I'm not sure like whether it has to be like through the physical presence or it can be like through kind of technologies that are similar to Neuralink, which basically copy your state of mind, your brain, your memories, your everything, and just transfer them into digital. So this is a kind of like an unconventional answer on a broader term. I'm not talking about the next 10 years. I'm talking about the next perhaps 100, 200 years. But if you think about it, all the technology that are currently emerging are heading towards that.
Fascinating. Yeah, the next 100 years. Oof. I hope humanity is around for us to, or, reimagined form of humanity. That reminds me of, a classic like The Matrix, the movie.
Yeah, so if you take a look on how technology evolved, first there was the idea, and the idea was written in science fiction or in books. If you read, Jules Verne books, it was science fiction initially. Then it became reality. So the main point that I would like to elaborate today is that once you have the idea, it's just a matter of time until you achieve it.
So true. So true. That is a poetic, haunting, and deeply thoughtful, I think, place for us to pause and sort of start to conclude our conversation. Yeah, Sergei, thank you so much for your time. This has been really fascinating. And folks who are listening and in attendance, last call, but we're going to share around and we'll have opportunities for folks to reach out to Sergei. Please check out, do you want to plug, Sergei, do you want to plug anything for folks to check out to learn more about In3D?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see that already we have some incoming mails actually.
Oh, good.
Into our mailbox. So yeah, I encourage you, like, again, if you have any interest that you would like to explore any questions, any ideas, and any, I don't know, even startup related that you think that you would like to connect with our technology, you're welcome to reach out. I'm personally trying to answer all the questions. So I'm like that part of the business. So probably you'll be interacting with me. Please go ahead. It is either through our app or through our website in3d.io, or you can just email me at Sergei, SERGEI, at in3d.io.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sergei. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope to connect with you soon at a future NYC Media Lab event. Thank you again, and we hope everyone stays in touch.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye, everyone.